I personally was in the streets since 2016. I had a toxic relationship that just kind of went south, and then the drinking just increased and just kept getting me into trouble, you know, and not having any family to fall back on. I just had nowhere to go. You know, you go up and down the light rail. There was just certain spots everybody liked to kick it and make it one big party and drink. And I started off in Mesa, and I just kept getting into trouble out here. So I pushed west in Tempe. And I was on Mill Avenue for like 4 months. Same thing, catching charges, and eventually I made my way to Phoenix. And that's where I met Agatha. I was in Phoenix at the end of the light rail, where I stopped originally at 19th and Dunlap. How did you make it out on the street?
I came from the reservation, the White Mountain Apache tribe. I was really into my addiction to the point I was beat up pretty bad from a past relationship. So they took me out to a place for domestic violence out in Tucson. So from there, they told me if I wanted to go to treatment, so I did. So they brought me out here to Happy Valley, and I stayed there for 7 months. I got a job, I saved up, and then I went to, what do you call those places to help you?
Residential treatment?
Yeah, a residential. I was gonna go back to work, but I met some people, Native people, or in Phoenix at that last rest stop. So I ended up there. I started drinking with them. I was out there for like probably about a month. And then I got really sick. I ended up in the hospital because I had fluid buildup in my lungs. So I went to another facility. They kept me there for about a month, and that's when I got out of there because I was supposed to go to Indiana and go see my dad. But a day before that, I ended up going out, and I never made it back to that place. And I started drinking again. After a while, I met him, and since then, we've just been together. And since we knew places out here, like that's how I came about Mesa, and it's really changed.
When we met was August 2020. She was out having health problems, so it was kind of at that point where she needed to stop drinking, or it could just be life-threatening. And she stopped drinking, and it took me about a week after to stop drinking. And I stopped drinking too because, you know, it wouldn't help if I would continue to continue on my addiction for her to be sober. So so we sobered up together, and I told her, let's go back to Mesa because Phoenix is full of trouble. So yeah, we ended up back out in Mesa, and then we ended up at La Mesa. And on top of that, I think I reached out to a high school friend of mine that I ran track and field with, and I stayed there before in my 20s. And you know, he said I could we could stay there again, so it ended up being in the backyard. Eventually it was just blankets and then like a 3-person tent, and then this was during COVID, so we had some help from our tribe because of COVID as far as financially, and we were able to get like a portable AC unit and a bigger tent, like a 10-person tent, and my brother sold out a mattress, so we threw that in there. So
we were doing laundry at that place, remember?
Yeah, there's also a place on Wednesdays that helps with
Free laundry.
Yeah, free laundry for the unfortunate. So yeah, we do our laundry there. My friends there give us a ride with their laundry. You know, La Mesa offered the financial peace class, and we took advantage of that. And then after that, you know, you guys spoke of a possibility of a job that I could relate to, and I kept pushing for that until it actually happened. And then that was the start of a whole lot of greatness. Just started saving some money because, you know, that's what the financial peace class taught you was that, you know, set $1,200 aside as emergency funds, because you never know what you're going to need it for. But in our case, to get started as well. You also referred us to Ken Adams, and he had low-income apartments, and that gave us a roof over our head and off the street officially. And then just from there, just one day at a time, just started getting little things here and there, until, by surprise at Ken, he ended up selling the property.
Well, what about, wait a minute, before that, what do we have here? You got a little youngster here.
Yeah.
Yeah, tell us about that.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think you were in the new place too long, were you?
No, actually, we were in the tent when she got pregnant.
Okay.
I fell back into my sober hobby, which is cars, and we kept making trips to go buy cars. I ended up in where was that? Roseville, California, Northern California, to go buy a car. And I stayed in a tent out there and got help from another church. And I eventually got hitched a ride back with the transport driver. So, yeah. But yeah, she didn't find out she was pregnant until I was going to buy a car in Florida. And, we flew to Florida, and I wanted her to help me drive back, and she kept getting tired all the time. Tired and just sick, I'm like, I'm tired too.
Had no idea.
Yeah, so, I just kept joking with the fact that you're pregnant. Until she eventually got tested, and that's how she found out she was pregnant.
Now, you were weren't you going through some kind of schooling through all this?
Yeah. When we were still in tent, before he got his job, I thought of going back to school. I got a call from the UEI college, and I took that as a sign in wanting to go back to school or to make something of myself. So I did, and I started going to school. Then a couple months after that, he started working. But down a couple months after, that's when we moved into the apartment. And those classes that we took, they actually helped a lot. Like, since then, I've known to save. I've been saving money. And my brother, he's been a lot of help too. So that's where I get my support from too. But
So my understanding is we are sitting in your own home. Is that correct? It's not a rental?
Not a rental.
You saved up enough money and were able to buy this home.
Correct.
That's amazing.
Yeah, my brother had purchased a home. He knew, a mortgage lender, and that's who I reached out to and just asked, what do I got to do? I don't want to rent again, and I'd rather just purchase, because I know there's people out there that pay what they pay in rent is what you pay in mortgage. So I was like, it may not be a fancy big house, but it's a start, and that's all that matters. So all I had to do was just kind of fix my credit and just bump that up, and that was enough to give us enough to find something. And I mean, this is one of the nicest homes we found at the time, during the time. So just kind of just adding little things here and there. Just paid off this couch. I got a good deal on a fridge.
Yeah.
And just little things here and there.
So do you have any words of encouragement for those? I mean, I don't think everybody can do what you guys did, because you have to be diligent. You can't give up. You got to keep reaching out. Any advice you could give anybody?
Most definitely, do not be afraid to ask for help. There's plenty of resources out there, and more than enough willing people that want to help. But at the end of the day, no one can help you unless you help yourself. And that starts with sobriety. And if you can get sober, you can get clear-minded. After that, just if you either work in the steps or whatever program that might have helped you stay sober, continue to just do that. Either that or call your sponsor and just stay sober. Fortunately for us, we had each other to stay sober. And, after you get enough sobriety time under your belt, you don't even think about it no more. You just think about, what can I do to improve my lifestyle? And that's what worked for us.
Well, you have a young
Oh,
one
and-
here that is going to depend on you now.
And having
so
a first child was actually the biggest motivational factor for us to strive. You know, you always want your children to have a better life than you did. You know, it's the same with our parents. They always wanted us to have a better life. You know, and that's what gets me up every morning. You know, to keep us where we're at and to most definitely not go backwards. Nobody wants to go backwards.
Well, we're just so proud of you guys that we miss you. We wish you could come around a little bit more often, bring Talon with you, and just come and say hi. But you guys are amazing to do what you've done and what you've accomplished. And it's just something that I think others need to hear about, that they too, if they put their mind to it,
Most
that
definitely.
they can make a difference in their life. So, you got anything else you'd like to add?
And we're grateful. We're very grateful that, you know, more importantly, God gave us another chance at life, and La Mesa was there to help us. We couldn't have done it without you guys. You know, we've done those residential treatments, and they weren't set up to help us. Well, me personally, help me transition into just getting back on my feet. It just was kind of like a loophole. I just kept falling back into that pit, and just, you know, I'm just getting right back into treatment again, and it's just never ending.
Actually, I've already hit my 4 years sobriety just recently.
Wow.
And he's.
Mine is on Wednesday, April 2nd.
Well, that's amazing. That's great. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate your time, and just like I said, I wish I could see you guys more often, because you always smile. That's one thing I gotta say. Through all that you've been through,
Yeah.
I always saw a smile on your face. You were always thankful, and it looked like you always had a positive attitude, and I think that positive attitude helped you to get through it.
Sometimes you have to. You have to stay positive, because just being down on yourself all the time is just it's not going to do you any justice.
If you're interested in learning more about how you can help La Mesa and all our efforts here to help the homeless, check out our website and also check the links in our bio. Have a great day.